Hey everybody, Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia here. I want to talk about Donald Trump's attacks on the federal government, which are hurting federal workers and their families, Americans across the country who rely on their hard work for everything from staffing our air traffic control towers to inspecting our food to make sure it's safe, and anyone who cares about whether Elon Musk can get his hands on their personal financial information. The so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, led by Musk and his cronies, is worming its way through the federal government like malware. Like so many Virginians, I'm disturbed that Musk and DOGE employees were able to access sensitive Treasury Department payment systems that distribute 90% of federal funding and potentially snooping through your personal information. Personal information like your address, your social security number, your bank account info, your financial status. These could all have ended up in the hands of unelected, unvetted, and unqualified people. I'm relieved that a court ruling has been issued, for now, to bar DOGE from actually directly tampering with the government's financial central nervous system, but not after DOGE had already tried to choke off funding to government entities whose efforts it disagreed with. Low-level lackeys without security clearances have showed up unannounced and demanded to see classified information about America's allies, adversaries, and diplomatic efforts. There's even been reporting that DOGE is having low-level staffers feed closely held data to AI models to try to figure out which agencies and workers to target next. This ragtag unelected group of advisors is trying to do end runs around the law to sabotage federal agencies, screw over federal workers, and hamstring crucial government functions. It's the latest front in a war Trump is waging on his own government. Of course, a big part of Trump's agenda here is to try to terrorize federal workers, the people who've dedicated their careers to important work and serving their fellow Americans. These folks treat our wounded warriors at the VA, monitor our national security at the Department of Defense, and keep our highways and skies safe from accidents. Now, why would he be doing this? So that the crucial work these federal workers do regulating key pieces of our economy go undone. And also, so he can replace those workers with political flunkies or even with artificial intelligence. My home of Virginia is also home to 140,000 federal employees and their families. So this is personal to me, and it's personal to them, but it's also personal to friends, neighbors of mine and yours too. Late last month, Trump issued executive orders attempting to freeze government funding across the board. His half-baked and illegal attempt to sabotage his own government got smacked down pretty quickly by federal courts, but in the meantime, veterans across the country couldn't make appointments at some facilities affiliated with the VA to get seen by a doctor. Head Start programs, which provide crucial education support and childcare for our nation's kids, were sent into disarray, with many having to contemplate cutting staff or shutting their doors or reducing their hours. Community health centers around Virginia couldn't access regular federal funding, and their patients, many of whom are seniors or people who deal with severe chronic conditions, suffered as a result. I've been in close touch with community health centers in Virginia this week, and some of them have centers or clinics that are still closed or operating with restricted services. So this is very, very real for veterans, kids, the elderly, the sick, your community, and mine. But identifying the problem is not enough. We have to fight back, and that's exactly what we're doing in court and in Congress. You've seen us succeed in numerous court challenges in the last few days and weeks, from blocking DOGE access to financial data, like I mentioned, to blocking Trump's illegal executive order revoking the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, and many more cases. Many of Donald Trump's actions so far have been clearly unconstitutional or in violation of federal statutes. And we're not just going to criticize him. We're going to take him to court and get lawless actions stopped in their tracks. And in Congress, we're going to stay laser focused on blocking or delaying harmful legislation and shining a light on this administration's dangerous plans and cabinet nominees. My colleagues and I held the floor for 30 straight hours from Wednesday all night long into Thursday to delay the confirmation of Russ Vought to run the Office of Management and Budget. Now, the OMB isn't something you hear about every day in normal times, but it's part of the executive branch that handles the nuts and bolts of keeping the whole government functioning, which means it's a place where someone with bad intentions can wreak havoc on the basic operation of our government. Russ Vought is Donald Trump's hand-picked guy for his cost-raising, job-killing Project 2025 agenda. This is a man who says he wants to, quote, traumatize federal workers. He actually calls them villains. What an ominous and frankly bizarre thing for somebody to say. So my colleagues and I held the Senate floor all night, highlighting how Trump's plans to throw sand in the gears of his own government will hurt everyday Virginians and everyday Americans. The first 3 weeks of the Trump-Musk administration have been chaotic, but Senate Democrats stand united, ready to link arms with you and to fight back in every way we can. Our democracy depends on us.